Welcome, guys. Another episode of LunarCRUSH Live, and today we are doing this in Africa. Today we are hosting Olumide Adesina. Olumide Adesina is a financial and investment analyst from Nairametrics. So, without further ado, I'll just go direct to it. Olumide, tell us who you are, what you do, and where you are in Africa right now.
Yeah, Olumide Adesina is just basically an investment financial analyst at one of the leading financial brands in Nigeria, and that happens to be Nairametrics. We cover cryptocurrencies, commodity stocks, financial literacy articles. We empower our readers on how to make money, what is happening in the market, and things that are going around geopolitically and social matters. So basically, we're just one of the leading news media firm in Africa. Thank you.
Yeah, so I see you write very good articles at Nairametrics, just analyzing the financial markets and specifically cryptocurrencies. I believe you have a good background when it comes to the story of Africa. Just tell us what you think the journey has been for crypto in Africa since the journey began.
Yeah, I think I think cryptocurrency started about the same time cryptocurrency became mainstream in other markets, because don't forget that the fact that Africa is emerging, a lot of millennials, and Africa has a kind of young population, and a lot of millennials are fast adopting technology, and you can see that the likes of Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, and South Africa are one of the leading countries when it comes to cryptocurrency. And that happens to be no mistake, because if you look at other mainstream technology tools like Google, Facebook, you see that these are key markets Africans are. So I think what really happened was that based on the internet, a lot of information trickled in, and Africans saw that the need for them, that they saw the advantages crypto offer. And don't forget that most of their currencies had issues with inflations and the purchasing power parity level at which you purchase an asset changes so fast. So, and they heard what was really happening with crypto. Then another good thing was that crypto smoothing payment, it enhanced payment capability at a pace not seen. Like my own country, for example, making transaction about 10 years ago to you, sending money to you was going to go was kind of very difficult. So I think crypto became the dawn when it comes to payment for a lot of Africans, and Africans saw that as an opportunity. So they got so excited about it that even the Western countries were not using it as much as we Africans, and you can see that in the market data from Google Trend or local Paxful that, for example, Nigeria happens to be one of the biggest the world's biggest crypto market in the world. In fact, it just ranks behind United States closely, and you'll be so surprised. An economy that is about 1/20 the size of the world's most powerful country, we're just trailing behind. And you can also see the Kenyans and South Africans too catching it, and that's just been the news so far.
Yeah, I think many people, Africa being the majority of the population in Africa is underserved, and that's why people speculating that crypto will do very well in Africa. And because many people are unbanked, many people have access to technology in terms of the internet and mobile and computer gadgets, and that's why we see so many people transitioning into crypto. What do you think are the main reasons as to why people are quickly adopting cryptocurrencies in Africa?
Like I said, Africa, in midst of the young population, has so many problems. And if you look at most of our banking channels are not as sophisticated as what you see in advanced market. Transaction cost, another reason. Then adaptability. An instance in key regions in Africa is prone to war, prone to political instability, and that makes financial ecosystem not able to thrive properly. So, one of the advantages of cryptos are that they are decentralized and they can work without physical channels. So a lot of Africans see that as an option for them to make such transactions. Another thing is that 1 in every 5 African has somebody abroad that sends money and out. And the cost of remittance over the years has increased. But with crypto, basically you can send so much amount of funds with just 0.05% charges of, yeah, even at peak periods, and that's tell you that it's so cheap. And another thing that comes to it is the ease. You can do all these things at home. For example, I just did a transaction with somebody in the United States. You understand? I didn't have to go to the bank. I didn't have to be at a risk of being robbed, or So these are things a lot of Africans consider. And another thing again to look at it, that these are high paying jobs. An average crypto job in Africa gives you $500. In my own country, for example, just about 5% earn less than that amount. So you can imagine the job opportunities crypto has created. And just like you, for example, now you are part of someone that is already gaining from that ecosystem already. Imagine crypto was not in Africa. I guess Kabi might not be employed, you understand? So you see, it has created so much job opportunities, and the market seems to be just starting.
Okay. Why do you think Africans are so quick to adopt new technology and new ideas compared to the rest of the world? In the rest of the world, there's a lot of regulation. There's a lot of, before people get to accept a new idea, it takes some time. But we've seen recently in Africa, people adopt new technology so fast. Why do you think this is happening?
Like I mentioned earlier, a lot of problems, a lot of underlying problems made a lot of people jump into crypto so easily. Then don't
Yeah.
forget the fact that Africans are tech savvy too. The Apple, the Google, Facebook trends in an average African home, and there's so much upside when it comes to technology. And they've seen the gain. Like I said, you can send me funds, within 30 minutes, and I get it immediately. So I think the ease, the transparency, the comfortability, and the trust, these are assets that, for example, Bitcoin has overed more than 30 million percent since inception. Now tell me, imagine you kept just $1, imagine what you would have been worth by now. So it has it has generated a lot of wealth for a lot of Africans. It has created so many jobs, So it's the same narrative, is just like, there's so much positivity. In fact, though some government officers in certain countries don't approve of it, you can see that it's still gaining mainstream. In fact, recent statistics show that the P2P, peer-to-peer exchange has risen by over 30% in countries that have had crypto being banned. So I think the upside is that Africans see crypto as something that they can't do without.
Okay. Recently, we have seen so many developments in crypto. You can't just when crypto was starting, it was all Bitcoin. I'm a Bitcoin guy, and these days, crypto is so wide. Yeah, there are so
Yeah.
many aspects that have been introduced into it. So today, you have to learn something new every day in the crypto space. What are the areas you think Africans are really interested in crypto, and what are areas that are getting traction in terms of the crypto space, specifically in Africa?
The crypto ecosystem is very wide. For example, you can look at from a financial expert, you can look at it from a developer, you can look at it from a uh, social person, you can look at it from a medical person, you can look at it from a logistics person. But I think one of the key areas is that a lot of Africans use it for payment and wealth preservation. You understand? Like I said, it make payment easy, and a lot of people, for example, trust uh, the crypto against the stock market or their fiat currency. And you can see, like I said, Ethereum, for example, has done more than 70% within uh, January to the point I'm talking to you. There's no stock market in this world that will give you that kind of return. So a lot of investors, especially in Africa, are trickling their funds into it. Though it's kind of a very risky asset because the market is still new, it's less than 15 years old. So there's a lot of market volatility, a lot of market manipulation, but still, an average African sees so much upside in it. Then I think the industry that is fast growing in it is payments. A lot of fintech companies are fast adopting it for payments. You can see in my own country, for example, one of the most valuable startups have a lot to do with crypto. You want to mention Flutterwave, you want to mention Paystack, you want to mention Bitcoins. These are top notch fintech companies in my country. And if you go beyond Africa, Also, Luno is something leading the way in South Africa,
Yeah.
and so many brands across Africa are really dependent on crypto. So I think the crypto space is concentrated on payments. And when it comes to developers, I don't think we are as sophisticated as the Europeans or the Americans, because I think if you look at the first 20 cryptocurrencies, I don't think there's one that has an African origin. Although if you look at Cardano, for example, Cardano
Yeah.
was designed for African farmers, and
Yeah.
I think you can see what's happening to the coin already. The coin is even outperforming Bitcoin and Ethereum by a long margin. In fact, it has over $1. This is a coin that about 9 months ago, you would use $1 to buy about 10. Now you can see the value. So a lot of people are cashing into it. So I think um, in the African context, a lot of people are more concentrated in terms of payment, in terms of wealth preservation, in terms of ease of their leveraging on their business. You don't forget that a lot of Africans are entrepreneurs in operation. So some people use it to trade. If, for example, buy their raw materials, buy
Yeah.
their goods from one distance to another. So I think the key areas are payment and wealth preservation.
And maybe for someone who's not in Africa and West Africa in particular, how easy is it to spend crypto? Like, not necessarily change it into fiat fast before you spend it, but let's say you have Bitcoin in your wallet and you want to purchase something in Lagos. How easy is it?
Yeah, four options. It depends on your level of sophistication. For a tech savvy, I don't think that's a problem, because in fact a lot of people don't want to sell their coins, and okay, that's for because of wealth preservation reasons. But when they want to make transaction calls, there are P2P exchanges. We have Paxful, we have Binance, and other ones are coming up like Patricia, Bitcoins are trying to do something that has to. Then there are other tokens that are pegged to the local currency. For example, there's a coin that is pegged to the. So if you have for example 1,000 naira, you can convert it to 1,000 crypto and use to buy your Bitcoin or exchange it back. So I think it's level of sophistication. What really happened is that in my home country, for example, the CBN restricted banks from having dealings with crypto exchange. So it created a black cloud around crypto, because don't forget that the central bank in Nigeria is one of the most powerful financial regulators, and wherever they see it has a trickle effect on the financial ecosystem. So what really happened was that banks could no longer deal with crypto, so it made it a lot difficult for financial transactions from local currencies to go to crypto. But don't forget that research has shown that less than 30% of Nigerians really actually convert their naira to cryptocurrency. So before then, a lot of people have been doing peer to peer. You can really convert from party to third party and move on like that. So I think that it all depends on your level of understanding. But I think for the basics, like crypto, Bitcoin, for example, Bitcoin is kind of expensive in my home country, because if you want to change it, you want to buy it, you buy it at the black market exchange rate, and that's like almost 30% premium. So that's one of the disadvantages of the CBN ban, because people can't get it at their local currency rate. They have to go through dark channels, and those channels will really charge you money, because at the black market, for example, you have the dollar moving about 18 naira, while at the CBN rate, you get it at 410. So you can see that margin is really very massive, and that really trickle down on people. But I have seen that has really reduced transaction rates. In fact, like I told you, in the past 1 week, for example, P2P on local coins and Paxful has over more than 15% transactional volume rise. So it tells you that a lot of people are still going uh, through that P2P option.
Yeah. You just mentioned the crypto ban in Nigeria. We
Yeah.
remember in 2017, Nigeria gave a circular warning people on crypto again. It was now the first circular was given in 2017. And since at that time, Nigeria did not recognize Bitcoin
Illegal.
um, as legal tender. Yeah. And there are also issues on Bitcoin being used in money laundering and finance and financing terrorism. And This is now 2021. We've also seen the CBN come in again. And now this
Yeah,
time the conversation is about uh, not allowing banks and public institutions, together with private institutions that have accounts in bank accounts, not to transact directly with anybody that's dealing with cryptocurrencies. And Nigeria being the second biggest, or the second largest crypto market,
yeah.
what is the impact of this locally and internationally?
Yeah, I think that's a very good question, but the question is not vanilla in approach. I have to go around round circles to interpret that because you need to understand where the CBN is coming from. Don't forget that in my own country, for example, our money market has been kind of very loose, and the Apex Bank, what they've been trying to do before the crypto ban, has been tightening financial liquidity. They started with remittance, they started with fintech companies that a lot of times people don't understand that Africa has one of the very democratic financial ecosystem. For example, in China, you can't withdraw beyond $50,000 as a citizen, except you have a business entity. So what the Apex Bank was trying to do was they were trying to control the abuse of foreign transaction. A lot of people launder money here and there. So they started with fintech companies, they started with other channels. So crypto was just came at the bad side, and they realized uh, that after blocking those channels, that some people were going through the crypto option. Do you understand? But one of the things you need to understand is that in a country, the apex banks, one of the major functions is to ensure that there's financial stability. But you
Yeah,
see, what really hurts a lot of people is that the way the CBN took it, the way the CBN sent the directive, because you see, what they did was that they just reminded the banks about what you said, that there was a 2017 memo, to that effect. But you see, what was different was that there was sanctions. Sanctions was added, and the CBN threatens to sanction you. It's wise for you if you're in the financial ecosystem in Nigeria. It's wise for you to take. So that really stopped a lot of things. And you see, the impact was very immense because a lot of people became scared, became frightened. Those that had doubts about crypto became more bearish. The market became very shaky in my own country. In fact, I remember some people that were strong critics about crypto started coming out, and it was such a very complex panorama. But I think on the other side, businesses became entered into trouble waters. You need to take a look of some companies that had crypto accounts were closed. In fact, some of them said their funds were seized. We don't know how true that is, but we saw that the bank started making effects, and those that even had crypto transactions had their account closed. And you see, so for that created fear. That created fear. So those that kept on were those that really believed in crypto, those that really had passion in crypto, those that understood crypto. But I think in the business sense, a lot of business will suffer from this. But like I said, on transaction volume, less than 30% use local currencies to Bitcoin. So that was why there was not so much effect, even when it comes to transaction in Africa's biggest economy. But you see, the Apex Bank is very powerful, and that's what a lot of people need to understand. And that was why the Senate, Nigerian Senate, had to call them to order and ask why such directive was in place. And in fact, just recently, the second most powerful fiscal office holder in Nigeria, that happens to be the vice president, Professor uh, Yemi Osinbajo. He said that crypto was a disruptor, and it was time for the CBN not to see it as though it recognized the fact that some people use it for illicit transaction, but it was time for the CBN to see the gains in crypto and the fact that you see Nigerians, a lot of Nigerians are falling in that category. And you can see that there was so much cry. In fact, when the ban took effect, and immediately the vice president uh, made that statement, you could see that the support started changing. So I think it would be fair, it would be harsh for us to just condemn the central bank. Though I wasn't really happy about what the central bank did, but we need to understand the rationality behind their decision. They one of the I don't think a CBN governor will want to dampen his national ecosystem advantage. In fact, it will want to strengthen it. But you see, one of the things you need to understand is that they see a lot of things we don't see. And they can't control cryptos. So banks naturally hate cryptos. And it wasn't just the CBN governor. You could see the most powerful fiscal office holder in the world, and that happens to Janet Yellen, what she said about Bitcoin. And all the things the CBN mentioned about Bitcoin, she retreated it. She said almost the same thing, like as if it was they were playing the same beat. And that's just to tell you that fiscal officers, traditional financialists have issues with crypto. So I think it's something that we just need to keep aligned to evolve. When Google started, they faced a lot of oppositions, libraries, and stuff like that. When Airbnb started, a lot of hotels, a lot of lobbies ganged up against Airbnb. But you can see Airbnb is far more than the most valuable hotel. Google is far more valuable than the most valuable library. You look at Uber, for example, to when Uber started, that exists even in London. At one point, Uber was banned. But you can see Uber is still thriving. In fact, Uber is one of the most valuable car sharing companies in the world. So I think no matter how things are destructive, we should always look at the fact that the things Bitcoin came for a reason. And if you look at the reasons why Bitcoin was created, it was created during the recession, 2008 recession that was caused by mortgage backed securities, and that's in the world's biggest economy, America, where a lot of dirty bankers took advantage of bad loans, just gave loans to almost everything canary. And you saw that even a very big bank like that happens with Lehman Brothers had to go under, and that was what Bitcoin was about. So Bitcoin was created in such a way that nobody had central authority. It was decentralized. It had a unique reward system. So you see, the thing is that these fiscal officers don't understand that these things, well, no matter how they try to curb it, it's going to become stronger. And you can see what's really happening. You see, the world's most powerful people are already coming to Bitcoin. For example, BlackRock, Tesla, Mass Mutual, like an 18th century insurance firm. So that just tells you that the fact that Bitcoin has gone through a lot of waters is now worth about $900 billion. In my own country, I don't think there's any African economy that is close to room 500. And you can imagine Bitcoin that is less than 11, 13 years old having that kind of market value. That just tells you the strong momentum going on the site. Thank you.
Yeah. Maybe just to a question on the CBN ban again. Like, do you think, as much as CBN made a decision just to save the Nigerian naira and try and protect their currency from inflation, do you think that was the best decision or the best direction?
Sometimes, see, because we're not fiscal officer holders, we're not regulators. So sometimes we don't understand what these guys are going through, what these guys see. I understand. For example, there was one instance where gambling companies were laundering money, millions of dollars, subsidized dollars, take the money back to the country, and it took the CBN about 6 months for them to discover that kind of illicit transaction. That's very painful because the CBN actually created a window for people that had genuine needs to get access to things at a very fixed, as a very conducive exchange rate. Because in Nigeria, for example, we practice a fixed exchange rate, meaning that the rates are pegged to the dollar at based by the CBN's prevailing conditions. So I think some people abused that opportunity. So the CBN had to come in and block all channels. Though it might look extreme, but I think for them, they wanted the job to be done. Because if you look at it, my country, for example, we produce most of our earnings come from crude oil. 90% of our earnings come from crude oil, and about 60% is what the government use for its revenue, where it gets its revenue from. So you just imagine that COVID-19 took about 50%, half of it. At one point, nobody was even buying our crude oil. So the dollar coming into Africa was not as much as before. So what do you expect the CBN to do? And you see, you have foreign investors that were always speculating on our assets, bringing in money and bringing out. So we didn't really have much dollars to do. So what we really had, the CBN had to make the best use of it. So that's what really happened. So it's not really that they felt the need to just attack millennials, just like the way a lot of people are seeing it. Though like I said, I'm not in support of the ban, but I'm just giving an understanding the rationality behind why they made those decisions.
Yeah. There's so many startups in West Africa, especially that
Yeah,
had maximized on crypto transaction.
yeah,
I don't want to mention names, but
yeah.
how have these startups been affected?
I told you, like I said, many of them are good as gone. Many are gone. You see, I'll give you an example. You see, just imagine the CBN bans you from your central bank in your own country bans you from dealing with your bank in any transaction, and there's no crypto around you. How would you pay? How would you make payments? There are some traditional payments that still have to go through banks. Not everybody accepts crypto. Yeah, crypto is not even up to. I don't think the exposure of crypto in African ecosystem is up to 10% yet. So it's still something that is emerging. So it definitely they had a lot of, but I think some of them, based on the fact that they are creative, like I said, went to the peer-to-peer option, went to the fiat token, stable coin, creating a token pegged to that asset in such a way that it
Yeah,
will be easier. I think some of them, but it will be very hard for them, to be honest with you, to survive. But you see, one of the advantage of these fintech companies is that some of them were already global in design. They already had markets in Ghana, Kenya, South Africa. So the fact that Nigeria had so much problems didn't deter some of them to keep. Uh, and in fact,
yeah,
I don't want to mention him. There was one I really had a close session with, and he said he had to move to Kenya to create something. And so that does to tell you that in the world of globalization, closing one door really doesn't mean that that's the end of the world. It just complicates things, but I think other doors will really open. Yeah.
okay. And uh, we saw the Nigerian vice president had
Yeah.
mentioned a week ago about how he thinks cryptocurrencies have potential and they might potentially be the currencies for tomorrow. Do
Yeah.
you think maybe the government will sit down and come to consensus and maybe reverse these decisions?
You see, to be honest with you, I don't see it coming in at least 2 quarters. And I'll tell you my reasons. You see, the CBN doesn't just make decisions rash to do. See, these are things that they go through a lot of channels, and they have committees, they have programs, and trust me, they have backings. Even if you look at it in the Nigerian Senate, some senators were against it as one region that they felt that a lot of people are using the naira less and things like that. I think what would need to be done first is that there will be a roadmap for regulation. And SEC already said that they won't even start that roadmap for regulation until the Apex Bank change that status quo of suspending crypto transactions with banks. So first of all, I think the CBN will have to relax that, and I think that will have to do a lot of fiscal lobbying, crypto lobbying, and so much. And until they feel that cryptocurrency is safe, but trust me, why I tell you that, another reason why I think it's not going to come here. You can hear what I said. The most powerful leader in the world in terms of financial matters, Janet Yellen, had already called Bitcoin that Bitcoin is not even suitable for financial payments. And you can see that she said it's illicit. She even said it's illegal, illegitimate. She used heavy words. And you see, these people are kind of connected. So if the United States, if the European Union, and other emerging markets are against, so how it will take a strong lobby. But I think because the CBN, the vice president has already interfered, I think there will be a kind of roadmap, there will be a kind of things on the works. But I don't think something drastic will happen very soon. That's my bias based on my understanding about Nigerian financial ecosystem. Things will take time. And don't forget, like I said, that Nigeria is trying to tighten its dollar liquidity. We don't want illicit transfers. We don't want illicit inflows. And like they said, they felt that a lot of people are laundering money. And let's be fair on the CBN. Some people already been caught in the United States. For example, there's this guy Agnew Wash Poppy. He laundered a lot of bitcoins and stuff like that, and things like that. And you see these things, they kind of send bad signals to our economy. A lot of Nigerians are hardworking. They work very hard. They use crypto for legitimate means. So you see those illegitimate conditions becomes very, very discerning. But like I said before, most of the corruptions that happen in Africa are done by fiat currency. In fact, less than less than 7% is done by crypto. In fact, Chain Analysis, a leading forensic crypto website, said that about 11% of illicit transactions were done with crypto, and Africa was the least exposed. So that tells you that there are lesser criminals than feared. But you see, the thing is that because you can't see these things, you can't
Yeah.
see them. Like, central banks can't see things. Central banks can see what's happening in the bank. They can monitor transactions. You can't
Yeah.
monitor this thing. You need a level of understanding to understand the blockchain, because all you see is numbers and code. You don't see, if I send money to you, for example, Kabi, it's not going to be
Yeah.
written as Kabi. It could be written as a series of letters and numbers. So you can see the complexity in tracking those things. But like I said, these things we are going to is going to evolve with time. Every technology usually comes with a challenge. And at the end of the day, that technology prevails. Thank you.
Uh, and the impact of that. I saw an article the other day that Bitcoin prices in Nigeria now locally have soared. Like we
Yeah,
even have Bitcoin selling for as much as
yeah,
$68,000.
yeah, yeah.
Why?
I said that earlier. It's the exchange rate system, bro. The exchange rate system. You see, for example, okay, let me explain to you. Okay, if you buy Bitcoin, what happened was before, if somebody buys Bitcoin on Binance, for example, the world biggest crypto exchange, he could use his card, and the rate he gets on the card, maybe, for example, some banks will charge you 400, 91, depending on those rates. So you get it at 50. But when you convert now, it's now expensive because you get at the black market rate. In fact, on some exchanges, the naira is 500 naira to $1. So you
Wow.
multiply that. Yeah, so you can see that's where the margin comes from. That's where the margin basically comes from. So
Okay, and even
because
international.
so it's like the black market now. It has become the black market, because uh you can't go through the official channels, you can't go through the bank channels. So people make money from that. People hold, people charge a premium of that. The black market rate is a factor too. So there are so many prevailing conditions that really affect that. Yeah, I told you, like, the impact of the ban has already started to trickle on the cost you get in crypto assets. Except you want to convert to peer, you don't want to have anything with fiat currency, you don't have a problem. But somebody that, for example, somebody that doesn't have a crypto asset, for example, that wants to buy a Bitcoin, he has to convert his naira meaning to someone that, so the person that wants to sell his Bitcoin, for example, will tell you that, okay, I'm going to sell at the exchange rate of 500 naira to $1. By the time you multiply that, oh God, the margin is,
But you see, I could say the other way, maybe let me buy Bitcoin from Kabi in Kenya. It could
yeah.
be way cheaper. Why not go that direction?
Yeah, but you see, like I told you, your level of sophistication. You are a sophisticated trader, for example. And I'm in Nigerian. I mean, like, you always buy from somebody you know. Okay, Kevin, because I know you already, I can have a transaction with you. But if you didn't know me, for example, you didn't want to make a transaction with me. No. So I think the issue is that, you see, people are comfortable with people you know. They rather want to spend more than be defrauded. Don't forget that there are a lot of scammers too that pose to be credible buyers. That at the end of the day, you transact money with and you don't get, because this is how you do it. Some of them go through third party, they send the
Yeah.
Bitcoin or they send the local currency through their bank channels. You understand? And you imagine, the crypto exchange doesn't have, because what the crypto exchange does before was, people that had genuine needs for crypto, they can get from their local currency to the crypto asset. But now that has stopped, except you have the US dollar. And even if you have the US dollar, you can't go through the banks, you have to go
Yeah.
through other things. So that's why I told you the power of the Apex Bank has already shown at the cost of why Bitcoin has gone up. Because this thing started when the CBN directive took in place. Don't forget that. You know, that's when the cost of Bitcoin started. But still, Nigerians are still buying. Funny enough, Nigerians are still buying. You know, Nigerians are really passionate about Bitcoin. See, it's so alarming. And one thing I will tell you, KB, you see,
Yeah.
where I am, Lagos, happens to be business capital of Nigeria. In fact, 40% of Nigeria's GDP is moving around that state. But Bitcoin is not among the top ranking in terms of states that use Bitcoin. Lagos is not even in top 15. States like in
Oh,
the southern part, Delta, yeah. But a lot of Africans and Europeans don't understand that. And I'll tell you the reasons why. If you look at Anambra, Ebonyi, Delta, Oshun, these states really are passionate about Bitcoin. And you know why? An average Lagosian has 5 bank accounts. But if you trickle down to other states, the number of banks there are not so much. And these people see crypto as a form of livelihood, payments, services. They want to buy things from abroad. They want to get things from their folks. That so many things. So we found out that a lot of people, even outside Lagos, happen to love crypto even more than those in Lagos. Although the crypto ecosystem in Lagos is sophisticated, most of the fintech companies are in Lagos. Most of the skilled players are in Lagos, but the consumers, you can ask top crypto exchanges to tell you that they're in the southern part of Nigeria and the eastern part.
Okay. I think with that being said, there were so many international crypto startups and companies that were now coming to Africa. The inflow
Yeah,
was so high. So many companies were setting up shop in Africa.
yeah,
Do you think
yeah.
this ban will affect that inflow? And how do you think?
So I think it's just a short-term effect. I don't think so because see, one of the things you need to understand about fintech is that fintech enjoys disruptions. You know, you when you try to limit a point, you create another channel. And like
Yeah.
my own country, for example, fintech is one of the biggest industry. In fact, my country is just exciting, just out of recession. And if you look at the GDP data, the telecom industry did very well. And you know, while the telecom do a lot of people use data, and you know, Bitcoin thrives on data, fintech thrives on data. So a lot of companies are coming to do business in Africa. I don't see that coming. South Africa is really doing well in terms of crypto regulation. They're accepting crypto, and you can see their fintech ecosystem is developing. I think the Kenyans too are doing very well too. If in fact, if you look at Kenya is just behind Nigeria and South Africa when it comes to P2P transaction, and that just tells you that a lot of strong fintech presence is also there. And I understand that even in Kenya too, the sophistication there is really very admirable because I've spoken to a lot of Kenyans and I've seen the level of passion, the high passion they have for crypto assets. And that just tells you that crypto is really a unifying force in the African ecosystem. And don't forget that Africa just had a free treaty called after where everybody will have to trade without barriers. The 54 country borders will look borderless in terms of trading conditions. And crypto is going to make those things um, possible because you see, crypto thrives on borderless things. So a lot of business are still going to spring up. Though I think for the near time, a lot of foreign investors will be very, very about investing in those assets. You know, they won't want to have regulatory issues with uh, those countries. But I think time will pass, and I don't think any momentum will stop. The worst that will happen
Okay.
is that some countries, some fintech companies will have restrictions offshore, will open their decks in different places, serving other things. But I see crypto being the next big thing in Africa, and it's already started. Like I told you, Africa. You can't when you talk about crypto in the world, you can't forget South Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, and these are African countries that don't even make 10% of the world GDP. But when it comes to crypto, they are forced to reckon with, and that tells you that if the next wave of technology innovation comes in, I see Africa taking the lead.
Okay. Now, as we talk about these startups and setting up shop in Africa, and even the local ones that are springing up from these countries, Kenya, Ghana, South Africa, Nigeria, what? Let's talk a bit of marketing. Yeah, what are the most effective marketing strategies you've come across as you see like these startups try to penetrate Africa?
I think most of these startups thrive on because of the fact that these crypto assets are decentralized. So most of them work remotely, and COVID-19 made remote working remotely the norm. You understand? So most of them work like very skeletal. Even leading crypto exchanges have little physical presence in the country. Although some that is changing for some. Some are already open physical offices. But I think in terms of marketing, I think usual suspect plays Facebook, Twitter, Telegram. Although Facebook at one point was the leading was the leading driver in advert. But at one point, Facebook banned crypto ads and stuff like that based on the fact they had issues, a lot of issues with Libra, and a lot of issues with the fact that there were so many scams that were going on. A lot of people were taking advantage of the crypto evolution to commit atrocity. But I think the top notch now, we have Telegram, we have Instagram, we have Twitter basically. And for example, I think Twitter is the place to beat because a lot of powerful crypto enthusiasts are there. Look at Elon Musk, the world used happens to be one of the world's richest person. Usually tweets about crypto assets. We have leading. Uh, Also, I met you on Twitter, for example. So that just tells you how powerful Twitter is on the crypto ecosystem. And you see, there's hardly any sophisticated or hardly any crypto uh, analyst that doesn't have a Twitter account. So I think Twitter for me is tops, but you can't rule out Instagram, you can't rule out Telegram, you can't even rule out Discord. These are other things that sharing tools that show. But I think in the long run, that crypto marketing will go physical because in my own country, for example, I've already seen Luno billboards in top economic hubs, so you can tell you that presence are already coming physical. So I think then you see some top crypto exchanges doing physical ads, doing social campaign, using influencers, so many strategies. So I think for there's no winner takes all. So I think everybody's trying to use what's best fit. But I think it's basically remote marketing that is really working right now. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I want to ask a question on crypto trading. There's also another
Okay.
article I read that so many
Okay.
Africans, especially young Africans, are considering doing crypto trading as a full-time career or job. Have you seen that in Lagos, and how are
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
how are people using it?
Yeah. I have, in fact, I have some of my closest friends that worked in blue chip companies. I'm talking of Morgan Stanley, JP, Goldman Sachs. You understand? Even Standard Bank in South Africa. Some of them have already started, or some of them are already considering. It's a very interesting industry. But you see, the thing about it is that because of one of the fears I have is that because of the fact that there's no regulation around it, there are a lot of scammers that take advantage of that, open
Yeah.
Ponzi scheme, take advantage of deceive people, people that are not knowledgeable about crypto investment or investment generally, promise them returns that are not realistic, even though Bitcoin is giving you crazy. Nobody really emphasizes these returns will happen. So I think those that are sophisticated are taking advantage of it. We have credible crypto funds that are already coming up, though you can't compare with the likes of Grayscale, Polychain, the ones we had there in America, but some of them are already springing up and not doing so bad. But I think this is where we need regulation in Africa because I've seen a lot of people being duped and being based on people that don't even understand crypto but are trying to use fraud schemes to. So I think crypto trading is an exciting thing. I've seen, so I trade crypto, for example. In fact, about 30% of my earnings came from crypto trading, price analysis, and stuff like that. So it's something exciting. But I'm a very conservative trader. I've been trading for about 15 years. So crypto trading was just like any other financial asset. But some people jump into it, they don't understand that these things are very volatile, very risky. You can lose all your money, and it's not a quick rich swim. Don't forget that even though these things are doubling at days, it's not something you should think you should now invest that you want to use $500 to buy a Ferrari, you want to use $200 to buy a house in Nairobi. You see, you have to be logic, you have to take other things into consideration. Do you understand the asset? What is the risk involved? What is the upturn? What is the liquidity? What is the
Yeah.
sharp risk? These are things you have to. So the level of sophistication is that you see for crypto traders that those that are going to stay in the game are those that really understand their audience. And like the crypto fraudsters, time will catch up with them everly. That's the only thing I can tell them. Time will always catch up with people that steal people's hard-earned money. But I advise people that if you really want to understand trading, for example, you just have to go through a lot of process. I this popular uh, hedge fund manager that I got to know through the stock market wizard book. He said, if you really want to know how to trade, you need to be in the price action mode for at least 5 years, meaning that you need to understand how the market works. Because see, you can't just put your money, add in money, and expect that you just make something all of a sudden. It doesn't work like that. Investing is not hard, but trust me, it's not easy. It takes a lot of perseverance to understand it and due diligence. Yeah, so that's basically it.
Yeah, that's and moving on into the future. um, I have seen so many investors talk of crypto in terms of so many people are looking into trading right now, which is a good thing. It's an opportunity for so many people. And we are looking into a future where so many crypto startups are yet to come up. And so trading is still going to be here. It's here to stay, I must say. And now, in terms of crypto projects that focus on certain niches in life, like, for example, the health sector, the agricultural sector, are there also people who are venturing into this? And what
Yeah,
does the future for them look like for them?
yeah. In fact, I don't want to mention names. I was opportunity to attend the session. I saw someone using blockchain to solve agricultural problem. In fact, the one of the things about blockchain is that it has one of the most transparent ledger. You can't forge, and transactions there cannot be due. You cannot change transactions permanent. So some people, for example, use it to track data, use it for their farming, and like I said, firms, for example, I don't just want to mention them, already use the blockchain for leverage on their service to improve statistics, solve medical needs, so many things. You see, the blockchain is just like a lifeline, just like what the internet did to humanity.
Yeah,
The internet just leverage opportunities. That's what the blockchain is basically doing. The blockchain is
yeah,
cutting corners, simplifying things, erasing middlemen and stuff like that, making things so easy. So I think the blockchain is something that will be a game changer. Africa missed the industrialization era, ahead
yeah,
of the Asians and the world. You see, this digital era now, this is where Africa has to take the lead, because you see, the thing about information that it's what you have and how you use it that will yield out results for you. So I think people, for example, my own country, for example, in farming, in Pressy, there are a lot of people using blockchain to solve things, and that is even going to really optimize agriculture, because agriculture happens to be the major of labor in Nigeria. In fact, more than 60% of Nigeria's workforce comes from agriculture. So you can imagine what you will do for that. And one of the things we are trying to do is we're trying to diversify from um, this fossil, because it's really affecting us. The oil volatility affects our earnings. Like I told you, COVID-19 disrupted Nigeria's economy. Imagine we had agriculture, services, digital, while the all volatility was pressing us up, being able to fall back on. So I think crypto is also creating other avenues in different areas. And we can already see that Amazon, for example, has used blockchain to improve logistics. Chainlink has is working with Chainlink working with Google on the cloud, compatibility, things like that. So a lot of leading brands, IBM, even JP Morgan, one of the world's most valuable bank. In fact, it's the world's most valuable bank. Is stable coin uh, payment infrastructure to ease payments, and things like that. So there's so much upsides when it comes to things. It's just that, like I said, we are in an early stage. People are forgetting that this industry is just less than 15 years old. So I don't expect things to just happen overnight. So things are already fast evolving. Like I said, Bitcoin is moving about 900 billion. The crypto market is moving 1.4 trillion. That is impressive for a market that is less than 15 years old. Thank you.
okay. Maybe let me just put you to the wall on this one. Like, give me your three best startups from Africa in crypto.
Wow, that's very, based on what I do, I'm not allowed to mention names, but
Yeah,
you know, to be very, I think all of them are really doing. I think
yeah,
most of them are really doing well. Some of them are very bright. players, core players in the team and stuff like that. But if you insist I mention names, I'll look at Luno. Luno is one of leading crypto exchanges in Africa. They've been in the game very well. They have a very good team. You know, back home, I look at Quadox, I'll buy coins, these guys, yes, they're kind of new, but they're fast evolving. Some of them are even doing transactions more than some my country. So that tells you that the level of sophistication and innovation that they are is part of the odds against them. So these are startups, but like I said, many of them are really, there's so many that uh, still out there that are making their names. So I
Yeah.
think Africa has a decent amount of crypto. I see most of them have foreign investment. There's hardly anyone I mentioned there that doesn't have a foreign investor to into. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah. In crypto, I would say community does a lot in terms of putting your project out there, especially as a startup.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
What are some of the best strategies towards building a good community for crypto startups for a crypto startup in Africa, especially?
I think personality. Oh, some crypto exchanges understand the level of personality. The
Yeah.
person you have in your team, time of understanding how you relate with people, you understand, and the experience. You can't compare someone that has been in the crypto space for 10 years with someone that's just a rookie. So you have a leverage, just like you now. You've been in the game for a while, so a lot of people you already understand in crypto. You understand. So those are things that really play out. So I think experience is key. I think your social skills too is key. I think your understanding about African continent, and that's why I kick against expatriates taking those community roles because we need somebody that really understands African. Africans don't behave like Europeans, especially when it comes to crypto. The European, well, the kind of questions you are very different from what the average African would. And then Africans are very passionate. They can ask you like questions in 10 minutes, but like an European that will just use Google or things like that to get other information. So level of understanding about the market too is key. So those are strategies. And you can see that there are so many crypto community that are very based on the fact that most of these crypto strategies are homegrown. You see, they're homegrown, they're people from their country. So that I think that's the key.
Yeah. Yeah. Personally, I believe community is very key when it comes to building a startup, especially in crypto. We've seen so many
Yeah.
startups that have built, and with good community, we've seen them go very high, as much as they pay so much attention to their product. So we also believe, like, for you to analyze as an investor or just as an individual to want to understand a project, you have to really look at their community. What are they doing? How excited is the community? What is the community anticipating? And at LunarCRUSH, we really give out insights on exactly what people think of whichever project you want to mention. Yeah. So you might see how much social volume you want to see, how many people are talking about this project, how many people are excited, how many people think it's going up, how many people think it's going down. In terms of percentages, if you're able to give a rough estimate of that, then you're in a position to give a prediction for yourself or for your company. Yeah. So that is what we do as LunarCRUSH, give out social insights for
Okay.
crypto projects. With that being
That's
said,
nice.
this will mark the end of our live stream. I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to doing another one with you. Uh,
Okay.
and that's my parting shot. Olumide, maybe what would you like to tell our viewers today?
Yeah, I'll tell viewers in Africa to keep working hard. There's diligence. There's reward when you work hard. But the crypto, I don't see anybody canceling crypto out. The crypto is here to
Mm.
stay. Yes, it could be delayed, you understand. But I expect people to make good choices with crypto. Don't commit fraud. Don't use it for transactions, stuff like that. Even though the amount of dollars hasn't got reached you should try and be careful when it comes to those kind of things. Then there are a lot of things you can learn from crypto. For example, me, I'm self-taught. I'm a crypto trader. I got most of my courses understanding from Coursera, Udemy. There are things you can learn on internet, make good while make ace while the sun shines. What I'm trying to say is make best use of the time. Don't shouldn't be all about jokes or about pranks and things like that. A lot of people are making millions of dollars with crypto. I'll tell you a story before I cut out. There's this guy happens to have a startup project, got a funding of about $5,000, and now he's moving transaction of about $1 billion. And that's his Uniswap. That is less than 2 years. I'm talking about the founder of Uniswap. So I think Africans should learn guys like that. Look at the ecosystem, pick people like as your mentor. Uh, don't see it as a quick. I said, don't see it as a quick rich scheme. Always be patient, and I tell you, at the end of the day, right, smart, right. So thanks a lot, Kabi, for having me on the
Okay.
show, and I really look forward to be uh, once again. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That's it from us, guys. Next time.